You're by far the most entertaining trucker on there for sure.
I appreciate that, Justin. I just kind of call it like I see it,
I
That's what I
love it.
like about it.
Yeah.
When we first started doing these podcasts, we were talking about drivers and what they eat because there's not a lot of choices. And you always popped up because you were cooking up something in the truck, and
Right.
but you would always have a good little catch line because you cooked it a certain way or something, and somebody might not like it. And hell, you didn't give a damn. This is how I eat it, and it always made me laugh, and that's what kept me coming back.
Exactly. You don't like it the way I made it? Don't make it the way I made it. Hell, cook it the way you want it. I'm just showing you how I do it.
Exactly.
But I probably got my first 2 million miles cooking on the manifold, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I started driving in 1986. Now I was
Cooking on the
intrastate.
manifold.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That's hilarious.
awesome.
Back in the day, everybody carried some baling wire, and it wasn't that tie wire, that concrete tie wire. Hell no, man. It was actual baling wire. And you could get you a can of soup or, something, poke a couple holes in it, and baling wire that damn thing to the manifold. And 100 miles later, your dinner's boiling.
That's great.
I bet but that was back in the 80s. That's when trucking was really trucking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean that was back when everybody had three logbooks, and
Hmm.
you had to run all three of them because you couldn't make a living. When I started trucking, I was making 20 cents a mile, man, and I was tearing it up at 20 cents a mile.
Well, let's get into it. Welcome into Drivers First on Trucker Talk Radio. We've been talking to the Bear. The Bear, welcome to the show. You're on with John and Justin. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all having me, really do.
You have a presence on TikTok. So before we get started, we want to basically tell you our pronouns.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you my pronouns. I got four of them. I don't have any.
Let's go back a few years and where did you grow up? How did you get into the trucking business back in the 80s?
Well, I grew up in Northeast Texas. About halfway between Dallas and Texarkana is the town of Sulphur Springs, Texas.
Hmm.
And my dad owned a truck stop. He bought it when I was 10, and he put me to busting flats back there in the trucks, which I've got to tell you, I'm 6 feet 3 inches tall. I weigh 270 pounds, and I've been 6'3" since the seventh grade. So I've always been huge. I mean,
He is huge. And go
yeah,
watch him, go watch that video where he's talking to that tranny and he's walking up and you see how big the bear is.
That's it.
well, Daddy put me to fixing flats in his truck stop, and I mean, I had to do everything, and I was pulling trucks around, parking trucks, and whenever I was 10 or 11 years old, fill them up, clean the windshield, do all that full service stuff, go around there and park the truck for them while they're in there eating. And that kind of tells you the way drivers were back then. Who's going to let a 10 or 11-year-old kid in their truck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
yeah, there's only one that I wasn't ever able to park, and it belonged to a man named Dan Sweatner, because I didn't know which of the three gear shifts I was supposed to use.
Yeah, that would be a difficult choice at 10 or 11 years old, tried to figure out, don't want to mess it up and being nervous.
Right.
So who'd you drive for and what led to getting off the road?
Well, I drove, just like all drivers that have been out there for a long time. I drove for a lot of different companies, but I started out driving a truck that my daddy owned. And I was running intrastate because I got my license at 18. Back then,
Mhm.
it was a chauffeur's license, but I had the intrastate restriction because I was only 18 and you had to be 21 to go cross state lines. But hell, when you're in Texas, you can drive over the road and never leave the state.
Right.
True. Yep.
So that was an 84 Peterbilt 359 and had the 4 1/4 cat and a 15 double over. That was a truck there, son. 60-inch flat top walk in sleeper. And of course, I had to have that air ride seat as far down as it would go. But it taught me a whole lot. And I was pulling a grain wagon, by the way, an aluminum dump belly grain wagon. And every once in a while, I'd sneak over into New Mexico. We just didn't tell anybody. Well, I'd have to reload potash. I'd take grain or whatever out to West Texas to one of those ranches out there, and then I'd have to reload potash in Carlsbad. And you can't get to Carlsbad without going into New Mexico. But
That's
I'd
right.
just sneak over and get me a load and shag ass, man. Time to boogie. But what led me to getting off the road was I got cancer. Now I still got it. And I've made no bones about it. I'm not worried about it. It's a blood cancer. It's called polycythemia vera. And when you spend your life away from your wife and your kids, I mean, hell, when my first grandson was born, I was in New Jersey, of all places to be. I mean, New Jersey. But, I missed a lot with my kids. And then I saw that my grandkids were coming along and I was fixing to miss that. And I don't want to wake up dead in this sleeper. So I pulled the trigger and here I am.
You miss it?
Yeah, I do. I do. You can't do something for that long and it be that big of a part of your life and not miss it when it's gone. I mean, truthfully.
Yeah.
I love my time with my family, but that was my life.
Now, how many total years were you on the road?
37.
37. Wow. I guess a lot has changed from the beginning
Oh,
to the end. I mean, it's
oh,
what would
oh
you
my
say?
God.
What would you say is the biggest thing that you've seen change over them years? What would be the one thing that stands out?
It'd have to be the ELD. We went from we were trusted as drivers. We were trusted to know when we needed to shut it down. Yeah, we ran multiple logbooks because you could, but we were trusted to know when to shut it down. And whenever you've done this for even 20 years, 25 years, but especially 30, 35 years, you're just really getting going by the end of the day. By the time the ELD says you have to shut it down, you're just really getting rolling. It's nothing for me to run 800 miles. I have good friends out in Montana. I live in Oklahoma and I've got a Chevrolet four-door dually and I'll get in my truck and run out to Billings and, I leave in the morning and I get there the next morning. There's no shutting it down. There's no getting a motel. Why? I've done this always and my body's acclimated, but the ELD has made it to where there's no trust that the driver knows when to shut it down. Well, that's what got me to doing TikTok. I didn't need to go to bed.
Ain't
I'm
too
not
much time
tired.
on your hands.
You
So you
know?
started your TikTok on the road?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Now I've got to give credit where credit's due. I had never heard of TikTok. My daughter told me, she said, "Daddy, you need a TikTok." And I said, "Honey, I've got to watch." And she's like, "What? What? No, it's an app on your phone." I said, "Baby, I got a clock app on my phone," because I'm thinking TikTok like a clock, man. So she showed me hers, and I was like, "The hell do I need with this?" And she said, "Daddy, you got a cool voice, man. Your
You
voice is
do?
just cool."
Yeah.
Yep.
She said, "People will watch your videos." She said,
And you're real. You're real.
Right. Yeah.
honestly, guys, I don't know how to be anything but real. That's just who I am. I'm not smart enough to remember lies."
Drivers today, a lot of them are away from their families. They don't eat the right things. You do a lot of promoting of different food items, different like nutrients, and different,
Right.
things that you sell on your TikTok page. Talk about that. Talk about why number one, why you do it. I'm over 40, I'm 46. I'm tired. I sit on the couch all the time. I try to be as active as I can, going to the gym, playing pickleball whenever I can, and just getting out there with buddies. But I'm tired, more tired than I've ever been.
So many people think that when you get old, which I'm 57, and when you get old, that you're supposed to just be tired, but you don't have to be. And what I found out, and it's through this cancer journey, that we don't get near the minerals and vitamins that we're supposed to have. If you can Google this, anybody can Google this. Let's take magnesium, for example, which there's multiple forms of magnesium. And it's not like I'm all this smart. I've researched it. If you check to see how much magnesium you got from your food, say 1960, in comparison to today, we get 60% less magnesium from our food on average than they did in 1960.
Wow.
Now, you couple that with, we don't have truck stops anymore. We have great big convenience stores that have roller dogs and Chester fried chicken.
Yeah, nothing's ever healthy.
No, there's
I
nothing healthy, nothing at all healthy. I mean, the closest thing to healthy would be Subway, and that's only healthy if you throw it all away and buy something else.
that's right.
So you
Yep.
can go to the grocery store. Nearly all trucks today have a refrigerator in them, and if they don't, then you can use your Love's points or your Pilot points or whatever to be able to buy a cigarette lighter plug-in refrigerator. You can go to the grocery store and stop. Just about any Walmart has got groceries in it now. Stop and buy food, buy healthy food, and actually eat well and get the nutritions or more nutrition than you should, because you're not getting anything except for sodium and a whole bunch of additives from the hot dogs. And, well, honestly, I won't eat Chester fried chicken. I'd rather go hungry. Have you ever had it?
I've never had it. No.
I've had it. It's not the best gas station chicken, that's for sure. It is probably the worst.
Yeah.
You're probably totally right. It's not, and I don't understand that either with truck stops. We had a new Love's put in probably about 30 minutes away from me, and they put a pizza place in it.
Yeah.
Now, you got to get stuff that drivers can actually eat. Who wants to eat pizza and then you got to sit in the truck all night or you got to drive another 4 or 5 hours? It's going to tear your stomach up. It just makes no sense. I laugh. We did a story on here a while back about food, and I stopped at a Pilot on I-40 right before you come into Memphis, going, I guess that'd be westbound, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a brand new Pilot, and they actually had actual food. They had a buffet. It was small, but they had, mashed potatoes and coleslaw and barbecue and some baked chicken and 4 or 5 other, vegetables and things. And I'm like, and I sat and talked with them for a few minutes in Plaza because the healthiest thing I ever see is boiled eggs. That's the
Right.
healthiest thing you ever see. And it's like you said, yes, Subway could be. And everybody goes, well, why are the truck drivers all huge? Why have they got huge bellies? Well, it's because of the food they consume, because they don't have no choice. You have been very open about being type 2 diabetic.
Yeah.
And
Type 2.
how did that affect you on the road and make you start looking at, the different foods that you were eating?
When my A1C got up to where the doctor told me that he really needed to put me on insulin, that I was getting up to the type 1 threshold,
Hmm.
that along with I got that blood cancer. And so you put all that together, and I knew how I used to do it. And like I said, I mean, the ELD, you've got your 30-minute break, but by the time you get in, you get some fuel, you find a parking spot, you've got 10 minutes left.
Hmm.
So you just have to grab something. And if you walk the aisles, it's junk food, junk food, junk food, colas, junk food, junk food, junk food. And then you get to the end of it and you've got hot dogs on a roller that's been there for 3 or 4 hours. You go in and you've got Godfather's pizza, you've got Chester fried chicken, or you've got Subway. Every once in a while there might be an Arby's or a Wendy's,
Hmm.
but that's all super fast, and it's even the Arby's and Wendy's. I mean, all that food's processed, and wanting not to be dead at 60. And I've got an interesting little fact here. The national men, if you go on a national average, the lifespan is right now 76 years old. Do you know what it is, what the lifespan for an over-the-road truck driver who spent his career as an over-the-road truck driver is?
Oh, it's got to be in the late 50s, early 60s, probably.
61.
61. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
61 years old.
that's telling right there.
And
Yeah.
most of those guys have families, which is even sadder. They got
Mhm.
they got families, they've got wives at home that they hardly get a chance to see.
What really put me to thinking about it was I was contacted several years ago, and I forget the man's name, but he runs an organization called Truckers Final Mile. Have y'all heard of them?
I have. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For those of you who don't know what trucker's final mile is, when drivers die on the road, which is extremely common, anybody who's been in the trucking industry for very long has seen the sheriff's department and the ambulance taking a dead body out of a truck.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen it so many times, but Truckers Final Mile reached out to me and wanted to know if I could help get the word out about them because they needed, they work on donations. I got to thinking about what they do. And then I was in Atlanta about 2 weeks later, and they had to pry the door open, and this guy had been dead several days. And I mean, it was bad, and he was literally directly across from me. So I see all of this, and I thought, I can't keep eating just whatever I can find at this convenience store truck stop. And that's what I call them now, because I grew up in a real truck stop where we had a real restaurant, and Roberta cooked the best damn chicken fried steak you'd ever try, and real mashed potatoes and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I talked to my wife and I told her, I said, I'm going to start cooking my own food. Yeah, it's so easy to do. And Justin, I don't know if you remember, but I did just about everything in a 10-inch electric skillet.
That's right.
I'm making meatloaf in an electric skillet. I'm making chicken and dumplings in an electric
Mm-hmm.
skillet. If it could be cooked, I cooked it in that 10-inch electric skillet that cost me $22.96 from the Walmart.
And you're saving money on top of it. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
you know,
It was tremendously noticeable in our bank account whenever I stopped just grabbing something here and there,
Mhm.
because you grab a Wendy's, whatever you call it, burger. Well, you buy the same burger at the Wendy's that's just down the street, and it's half the price,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they've got you over a barrel at the truck stop. So you
Mhm.
have to pay it, and you figure it up. If you spend $15 every meal, that's $45 a day.
Plus, I think when you eat that kind of food, you don't get full.
No, you don't get full, you get bloated.
Yeah, you get that, and then
Right.
and then you think about as a truck driver, you're sitting in the truck a long time with nothing to do. What do you do? Because I'm bad at it. Sitting at home watching television. I got nothing going on. Let me get a bag of chips or let me get a cookie. And you just eat it. So I can only imagine how much more that would be on a truck driver because yeah, you got a TV laying back in your bed and stuff, but you're not that comfortable. And I mean, what else you gonna do? You might as well, grab a snack and eat.
Exactly. And I'll be honest with you guys, which I'm 270 pounds now, but 22 years ago, I was 465 pounds.
Wow.
Wow.
What'd you do to get off the weight?
I did not use any kind of surgery or any kind of weight loss pills. I actually just, Atkins diet was really popular then, but I
Yeah.
wasn't,
My
there
dad did
wasn't
that.
any way I could measure and weigh food.
Hmm.
So what I did was I ate a lot of meat and green vegetables and eggs, hard boiled eggs. I had a refrigerator in my truck even back then, and I would boil up 6 dozen eggs and bag them up, put them in my fridge. You get tired of eating it. And of course, I wasn't eating fresh green vegetables. I was eating canned green vegetables, spinach, green beans, that sort of thing. And that's all I ate was just meat and green vegetables. Nothing that was breaded. Now I will say I cheated. I ate a lot of spam because I can carry that in the truck.
Uh-huh.
I ate a lot of bologna, a
Man,
lot
I
of
remember
ham.
that. Yeah.
Right.
But after a while, you just get tired of eating that shit. So,
You got to reward yourself every once in a while if you're doing it. That's for sure.
well, on that, I just quit eating because I get so tired of eating the same damn thing over and over.
So let's shift a little bit, talking about, some of the younger truck drivers out there, drivers that are struggling. Justin and I talk a lot about, having discipline on the road, not stopping at Target or Walmart and walking around for hours on end, coming out when you say you're going to come out. If you go home for the weekend to see your family, that's great. But when you say you're going to come out on Monday and Monday turns into Tuesday and Tuesday turns into Thursday, the next week you're like, why didn't I make any money? A lot of these guys just don't understand what real work ethic is nowadays. And so what advice would you give the younger version of yourself?
Picture where you want to be, put it in your mind where you want to be, and understand that, yeah, the kids are going to cry when you leave, and your wife's going to be pissy. It's going to happen. But your first responsibility is always to God.
Amen.
Your second responsibility is to your family. And you cannot take care of your family if you can't feed your family. And I know every generation says this about the next generation, but I've seen it so many times right before or leading up to my retirement where Mike, the main load getter dude, I don't call him a dispatcher, that's kind of a dirty word, but he was the main load getter dude. He would call me and he'd say, so and so, he's got the sniffles or something. His wife's being pissy, whatever. Oh, I need you to drop that trailer at Norfolk and go over and get his load. And you can't fire him because you can't replace him. And I understand that. But the main thing I would tell these young drivers is understand the importance of the responsibility that's put on you, and understand that you cannot you're not taking care of your kids by teaching them a poor work ethic, and you're not taking care of your kids by not being able to buy them shoes and clothes and food and have a decent home. There's an RV park not far from here where I live, and this guy, he's got 5 kids. I don't know if they're all from the same woman or not, but his girlfriend, I know they're not married, but his girlfriend and 5 kids live in a 22-foot camper. When he comes home, he's always a week and a half home. What's that teaching the kids? And it's the same thing. It's the woman doesn't want him to leave. The kids don't want him to leave. You've got to prioritize. And that's what these young kids aren't doing. They're not prioritizing.
Well, it's in everything, right? It's not just in trucking. People don't want to work
Exactly.
anymore. Really, COVID has ruined us.
Oh
COVID's
my
ruined
God.
us. It's ruined our school age kids. They don't want to work. They don't want to do homework. Kids just don't understand what they're watching their parents. Their parents are home all the time.
I have to brag on my youngest son. He's 23. And so, I mean, he's in that generation. And I really think this comes back to what he saw his dad do. Now, he works out of state. He's not a truck driver, but I say that he runs a haul truck on a dirt contracting crew. And, those great big, huge dump trucks. And this past summer, back in May, he called his mama and he said, "Hey, what kind of medicine do I need to get? I'm just sick as hell." And she said, "Well, if you're sick, you need to tell your foreman and you need to go back to the hotel." And he very incredulous, and he wasn't being sarcastic, but with a very incredulous tone, he said, "Mama, why would I do that?" And she said, "Well, you're sick." And he said, "I'll be sick no matter where I'm at. So if I'm at the hotel, I'm being sick, not making money. I'd rather be sick here making money."
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
And that's the attitude that young people today rarely ever have.
Yeah,
But,
100%.
he watched me go to work sick and go to work hurt and all of that. And he would ask me, and I remember him asking me, "Daddy, if you're so sick, why didn't you just stay home? Because, son, I have to be able to feed you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what the young people today need to understand, that it should not ever center around you as the individual. It should center around what you're responsible for.
I always tell a lot of these young guys, if you want to be home daily and you're starting out, you don't need to be a truck driver. You need to know from the beginning you're going to have to stay out to make the money to give it to the family. So you hit all that spot on. I want to ask you and get your opinion on the big controversy topic that we've had for, I don't know, 6, 8 months now. What's your true, honest opinion of these non-domicile drivers coming in and taking jobs, even though there's probably not people to take those jobs, but coming in and just making a mess of everything? Them, the government, and everybody. What?
You talking about the ones that wear this?
Yes, sir. Well, and I have no problem. We had a guest on a couple days ago that hasn't aired yet. That we're, figure out ways if they truly want to work, and we can get a way to get them in to work. But you got to be able to speak English.
You got to be able to read road signs.
Yeah, I mean, that's first and foremost.
This has been a problem for a long time, right? This isn't something brand new. We're just now
No, it's
addressing
not
it.
brand new. No, it's not. Honestly, I can't remember anybody. I like the way you said that, non-domicile, coming into my dad's truck stop, but that was a long, long time ago. But I really gave it a lot of thought. I was standing waiting my turn in line at a Love's to run my card and pay for my fuel and all that. And the guy in front of me, he was Slavic of some sort. I don't know, Ukrainian, Kazakhstan, Russian. I don't know. I've talked a little trash about the truck stops being convenience stores, but the people that work at most Loves are generally very, very polite. That's a job requirement. And I appreciate that. And this young lady, she got so frustrated because she needed his name to be able to type in on the computer and his driver number, but he didn't understand what she was asking. And she was like, your name. And then she did her name tag out, and she said, your name. And he's like, And finally she took his wallet out of his hand and pulled his driver's license out, and she looked at it, and she looked over at me, and she said, this isn't even an American license. And it was an international license. And it was written in whatever that Russian language is. She said, how do I type this in? I don't know. But he had no clue of anything. And I thought about that a lot, and it bothered me because how are they going to know how fast to go?
It's an 80,000-pound missile driving down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And just like we saw a couple weeks ago with a guy going the wrong way, 50 miles an hour.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. Whenever you've got people who, they can't speak the language, they don't understand the language, and they close their curtain across their driver's side door window. And I don't know how many trucks I've passed that had no idea that I was even passing them.
I've not seen that while they're
I'm not.
driving.
Oh, yeah, that's extremely common.
Wow, I didn't know
Extremely
that.
common. They will close that driver's side window curtain. And I'm going through Minneapolis. I just loaded steel. This was about 3 years ago. And there was one. Now, he was in a day cab. And I get up right beside him and I look over, and he's got an iPad on a holder on his windshield, and he's watching an adult video. But it's on his windshield right directly in front of him. And it's like you can't see, you know?
He can't see and he can't read the road signs on the road.
Yeah.
No, and if you're focused on your phone or on an iPad or whatever, and we've all had it happen, whether you're in a big truck or a four-wheeler or whatever, somebody slams on their brakes, you have less than a second to react. That ain't much time. You certainly can't push pause.
You can't.
No.
I did some interviews. I did one on PBS a few years ago, and I wish I may be able to find it and send it to you. It's on YouTube, but it was talking about driver safety, and especially during the holidays. Did you know that 93% of all wrecks between 18-wheelers and passenger vehicles, 93% of them, the passenger vehicle was at fault?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a national statistic, or at least that's what it was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
but the reason for that, and we all see it, people going down the road texting, people
Texting.
going down the road
Yeah.
playing
Mhm.
video games.
And they're weaving, speeding in and out.
Yep.
hmm Well,
Not paying
now the big
attention.
truck drivers are doing it, and that circles back to being responsible and having responsibility and understanding that. Yeah, I mean, I made TikToks while I was on the road, but I never made one while I was driving. Not ever. I would not open the app until my brakes were set.
Mm.
Period.
You're right. The roads are plenty dangerous already. And then we know how long it takes to stop an 18-wheeler at 60 miles an hour, right?
Yeah,
So if they're holding their phone and they've got to come to an immediate stop, people are dying.
they are. And that also kind of played a part in my decision to retire. Like I said, I didn't want to die on the road. And somewhere in my cloud storage, I've got a video of there's a little blue car. I'm in the left lane. I was going 75, but the speed limit was 75. Now, I'm loaded. I've got a loaded plate still on. And there's a little blue car passing a FedEx truck. And that FedEx truck just decided to change lanes on top of that little blue car. Well, he slammed on his brakes. I slammed on my brakes. And I did not hit the little blue car. The FedEx truck didn't hit the car, and I didn't hit him. But you can't see that because by the time I came to a complete stop, all you could see was the hood of that car. The rest of it was covered by my hood. I mean, I probably came, I don't know, I didn't get out and look, but I probably came within 3 or 4 inches of driving over that car. And I had good following distance. But it takes a lot. You can stop that little blue car a hell of a lot faster than you can stop that 80,000-pound Peterbilt.
Well, I want to go to something else that you talk about a lot on TikTok that really caught my interest is Peterson Transport. You are one of the few truck drivers that I talk to. I talk to a lot daily or see on the internet and social media that praises a company that they've worked with that really appreciates the relationships and that you did a good job for them, they did a good job for you. Just speak on that, give them a little plug, and then, like I said, just let the new drivers know if you see this, that's something you need to hang on to.
Well, I will tell you, Peterson Transportation Incorporated, based out of Manson, Iowa, and there's a reason I always say that way, because one time I made a plug for them on a TikTok, and somebody made the comment, said, "Oh, never say where the company's from because that could come back against the company." So now every time I say Peterson Transportation Incorporated, based out of Manson, Iowa. But you're right. Most trucking companies today, the driver is no different than any part on that truck. It's replaceable. The engine can be replaced, the transmission can be replaced, the driver can be replaced, and that's as far as it goes. They don't, the companies don't care about the drivers. They care about the miles and the dollars. Well, the thing with Aaron Peterson, who owns Peterson Transportation Incorporated, based out of Manson, Iowa, is he started out as a driver. He started out with one truck, and now he's got about 80. But what he understood and has understood the entire time is the truck doesn't make money. The driver makes money in the truck.
Well said.
So if
Yeah.
you don't
Mhm.
treat your drivers right, if you don't treat them like family, you're not going to have them. They're not going to take care of that nice equipment. So that's what he does. And I'll give you an example of the kind of heart that a driver wants to look for in a company. We had a driver who his son passed away, and it was a heart defect, 17 years old. And if I can get through this without crying, I'll be surprised. Hell, he was in Omaha. He was parked beside me at the Sapp Brothers there in Omaha. And Aaron told him, he said, "I'll fly you home." He said, "I'll hire a driver to drive you home." He said, and Steve's like, "No." He said, "Let me just drop the trailer. I'll bobtail home." Aaron paid for his funeral. He also paid for Steve to be off for 3 months at his current, just average weekly pay. 3 months, and he wouldn't let him pay him back. He also told the entire company, he said, anybody who wants to be at that funeral, he said, I'll pay your mileage to and from for you to go to that funeral.
Wow.
Wow.
That's the kind of heart that you need to look for in a company. And it's rare because most companies, they only care about how much money the truck makes, and they don't understand that it's not the truck making the money, it's the driver in the truck who makes the company the money. So if you can find a company like that, that's what you need to go with. And Peterson Transportation is not the perfect company. You know, they make mistakes just like everybody. There, you know, there's the human factor, but you have to understand the heart behind it. And yeah, you might get mad because you didn't want this load. You didn't want a load going to Rockaway Beach, Long Island. Who wants a load going there? Nobody. But you've got to take the good with the bad or the bad with the good.
Yeah, talk to those drivers for just a second, because there are also some of those good trucking companies where drivers get frustrated real easily, and then all of a sudden they're on to the next one. They think the grass is greener, or they're listening to their buddy that's telling them they're coming home with 6 grand a week, and they may in reality be coming home with 6 grand a week, but they've been with that company for several years. Everybody knows his name, at that trucking company. They built solid relationships with their dispatcher, with with people who are in that company as well as their customers, right?
Right.
They built relationships with the customers where now the customers relying on that specific driver to come in and out the door every day.
It's real simple. It's real simple, John. When you have those situations, and it's going to come up no matter what company you're with, it does not matter where you thought you were going to be leaving Tuesday morning, but now you're leaving Sunday morning. There's actually a category that I say that falls under, and it's called the shit happens category. Understand, we don't live in a perfect world, and the trucking industry is very, very fluid.
Mm-hmm.
And so things change, loads change, and it may be that they're going to have you leave Sunday instead of Tuesday, because if you wait till Tuesday, they're not going to have you a load until Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
And so they'd rather get you out early, have the truck making money with you in it, but have you making money too, rather than you miss another week. You've already been off for 2 or 3 days, and it's happened to me. I mean, we've all done it. If you've been in the trucking industry any time at all, you're going to get crossways with a dispatcher, because that dispatcher, he just found out his wife's screwing around on him, or his kid has got pneumonia and he's not making a whole hell of a lot of money, and he doesn't know how he's going to pay that hospital bill. So he's in a foul humor. So he's going to take that foul humor out. Understand, we're all people. The grass is not any greener. If the grass was so much greener at XYZ instead of being at ABC, everybody would work for XYZ. Everyone would.
That's true. Yeah.
No one would ever leave that company. So, Peterson, we have drivers that have been there for 15 years, 20 years. We just had one that good friend of mine, he just celebrated his 9th year. It's so hard to find companies that people want to stay at that long.
Mm-hmm.
If you find a company like that, just understand, stick with it, son. Hang in there. No different than your wife.
That's right.
You better not kick her to the curb and go find you a different one, because guess what? She's going to have the same bitches and gripes.
That's right. I put 23 years into this deal. I don't need to go it ain't getting any better.
Dude, I got you by 10. I got 33 years with
All
mine.
right. Congratulations.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
So watching you on TikTok, it's clear you have a community that looks to you for encouragement. Talk about how that feeds you, what you can recommend, because so much of our driver base right now in this country is aging out of the truck.
Every day, my daughter-in-law, brings our grandkids. I've got a 2.5-year-old grandson and a 9-month-old granddaughter. And every day she brings them over on her way to school. She's going to college. That's what feeds me every day.
Nice.
Understand that your life can be trucking, but it doesn't have to be every facet of your life.
Right.
When you get in that truck, yeah, that's your life. You've got your wife and your kids and your grandkids at home. You call them on the phone, you have video chat, whatever. But when you get home, whether you're home for 3 days or you're retired, you focus on that family and you put them before everything else, because they've been without you always. So when you are there, you give them everything you've got. If your wife wants you to go to J.C. Penney's and pick out pantyhose, you go to J.C. Penney's and pick out the damn pantyhose with her.
Yeah.
You
Right.
just spend that time with her, because she only wants you to go with her because she's missed so much time with you so far. You put everyone else first, except God, of course.
Except God. Yep.
That's it.
Except
We
God.
put drivers first on here.
Yeah,
That's
we
for sure.
Yeah.
talk just a few seconds and give yourself a plug for your oh hell yes seasoning. I know you started that up, so talk about that a little bit, how that got created.
I might just have some right here beside
Oh,
me.
there we
There
go.
we go.
Where did that come from? How'd you come up with oh hell yes?
Well, the reason I came up with it is just about every seasoning has sugar in it, and I'm type 2 diabetic, and I didn't want a sugary seasoning. I don't know why they put sugar in seasoning. Blows my mind. So if I found a good seasoning, I might find it in West Virginia, and then next time whenever I run out, I'm in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Can't find it again. So I decided, hell, fat man, you can cook, make your own. So I made this one. This is my original oh hell yeah blacktop. And the name actually came by accident. I was cooking a steak in the truck, and on these TikTok videos, if you have dead air, they scroll on past. So you got to keep rolling.
Right.
Well, I've got it in a plastic bottle, but no label. And I said, now I'm going to hit it. I didn't have a name. I didn't want to say with this stuff. So I said, now I'm going to hit it with some of this oh hell yeah seasoning, because oh hell yeah, it's good. And immediately people went to asking for oh hell yeah seasoning. And I kept cooking with it, and the momentum kept building. I talked to my wife and I said, maybe we should look at making some of this. So I ordered labels. I ordered the bottles. I ordered the ingredients. I made 60 bottles, and I put me a website together. Actually, my daughter-in-law did that for me, but I put this website together, and I announced on TikTok that my website was up, and if you wanted to get some of this oh hell yeah seasoning, you go to that website. And the next morning I had 600 orders.
Wow.
Wow.
I had 60 bottles made. Now the red top came about because people that bought the black top asked for something hotter. But it's really cool because, I'm kind of simple minded. I rode the short bus. There's 4 ingredients in this one, only 4.
Wow.
And
Only 4.
yeah, there's iodine-free kosher sea salt. And the reason I use iodine-free kosher sea salt is because Jesus is a Jew. He was born a Jew. He was raised a Jew. He ministered as a Jew. He was crucified as a Jew, and he ascended to the right hand of God as a Jew. And when he comes back, and I'm very certain he will come back, if he wants a good seasoning, I don't want him to not be able to eat mine because I didn't use kosher.
I love it. I
But
love it.
it's got the kosher sea salt, black pepper, granulated garlic, and cayenne pepper. And that's all that's in it.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Ooh, that's hard because I'm a fat guy, man. I love it
Well,
all.
so am I.
Hey, same
But
here.
I'm gonna say one of my favorite dishes would have to be smothered pork steaks,
Okay.
Cajun style.
Cajun
Mhm.
style. Nice.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's so easy and so good. Mm.
Well, I want to ask you one other thing about TikTok before we go. What video made you go viral? What was you doing that really got you?
I can tell you exactly what video went viral and started building my account. I had maybe 1,500 followers, and I had learned how to do a video reply to a comment, and that's where the comment is up on the screen. And,
Yep.
Well, I had made a video talking about how proud of one of my sons I am. And somebody made a comment that said, I wish just once a fatherly figure like you would say that he was proud of me. And I did a video reply to that comment, and I looked at the comment, and then I looked at the camera and I said, well, I'm proud of you, son. I'm truly proud of you.
Oh, wow.
That's all I said.
Wow.
And the next morning it had 2.5 million views.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
Barry, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being candid, telling us about your health journey and building your community on social media.
I cannot thank y'all enough for having me. It's truly been my pleasure. Anytime you want to sit down and shoot the bull again, even if you want to just call me on the phone, man, I'm all about it, brother.
Love that. And we'll keep watching you. Tell
Yeah.
give a quick link on where people can find you on TikTok.
Oh, it's at Bear the Voice 3, and it's all one word, Bear the Voice and the number 3. And on another conversation, I'll tell you what happened to 1 and 2.
Okay, perfect.
The tease for the next time, man.
That's right. All right, Justin, if you don't mind just giving our sponsors a little shout out before we get off here.
As always, we want to thank our sponsors who make this possible. First sponsor, of course, is Gray Cross. It's graycross.org. What we do at Gray Cross is we take care of families who lost loved ones on the road. If they die on the road, in a car accident, or if maybe they, as Barry talked about, dying in their truck from a couple of days of being there, Gray Cross steps in. They take care of, try to help with funerals, try to help with emergency money, food, anything to try to help the families and get through that time of need. Donate $1, $5, $10, $100, whatever you can do. Every dollar counts. That's graycross.org. And then our other one, of course, is ReadyApp. ReadyApp is our main sponsor. We want to thank them. They are a driver onboarding and verification platform. ReadyApp gives drivers a one secure, verified profile that they can use and apply to multiple carriers, protecting their identity. Plus, there's a lot of things coming with their onboard and their broker verification that'll be coming out soon.
Yeah, that driver passport feature they got coming out is really exciting. So if you found value in today's episode, if you enjoyed it, if you thought it was funny, subscribe, share, send it to a driver who needs this message. We really appreciate you coming on, Bear. Great having you, and we can't wait to have you on again. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone out there, drive safe, and we'll catch you next time.